as we get more AI, more automation, I think you need more human. In my mind, diversity needs to be all types of diversity, not just black or white or male or female. How do you push yourself? How do I do something that's uncomfortable? Because that's where you grow. There's a lesson in that for sure about not turning your nose up at an opportunity or an asset class. You gotta have some grit. So you gotta be able to work through things and not give up.
John Bosco, Agbasi. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you so much for having me. We are in Fengate's head office here in Downtown Toronto today. So really appreciate you sitting with me today and doing this. So John Bosco, Agbasi, I do have to ask, do you prefer going by John Bosco or JB? JB, okay then. JB. So JB, you are on the leadership team here at Fengate. On the real estate side, you've recently been promoted to the managing director of asset management. You're responsible for all aspects of Fengate's commercial and residential portfolios. So we'll obviously get into this as we kind of go through the podcast, but Fengate's commercial portfolio includes 3.4 million square feet of core portfolio, large development pipeline of over 5 million square feet, and over 200 acres of development land. Your residential portfolio includes the multifamily income fund, and there's multiple development funds representing a pipeline of over 25,000 units, which I'm excited to get into with you. And so prior to Fengate, JB, you were at Cortera, where you were also responsible for asset management and leasing of commercial and multifamily projects. You previously, before that, also held a similar role at GWL Realty Advisors, covering industrial and multifamily. It's pretty cool. You've really touched kind of every asset class. And you did your Bachelor of Arts from York University and MBA from Sprott School of Business.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
That was a very gracious introduction.
Yeah.
I usually describe myself as a husband, a father, a Christian, a sports lover, but I love hearing that. That's gracious, and it's been a ton of fun the last couple of years at Fengate, and we'll get into like Cortera and GBL and my previous roles as well. But yeah, so that's me. Fengate, taking a step back, we're an alternative investment manager. We cover infrastructure, private equity, and real estate, of course. And essentially, we've been around for over 50 years, 70 plus institutional investors, and Ripik, you want to put it in a nutshell. Essentially, we want to deploy growth capital across our portfolio companies on the PE side,
yes,
as well as into real assets. So think like data centers, wind and solar projects, hospitals.
Of course. So you guys are really brand. Yeah. So you really do kind of cover every asset class.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. And then on the real estate side, obviously that's my focus, and we've been busy. We think it's a great time to deploy capital, a great vintage, and our program, my focus is on the residential and commercial side, and we also, of course, have the development team, investments team, finance group.
Yeah.
So we're that full cycle, full service manager.
Yeah, very cool. Honestly, I love that you introduce yourself as something outside of career, because I mean, obviously career is a big part of it, and a big part of this podcast is, yes, I want to talk about career and company and what we're doing, but a big part of this is like getting to know the people behind these titles. And so I think it's sometimes you forget that, like, someone in one aspect, but then they have this whole life behind it too. And so I love that you introduced yourself that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, listen, I'm a girl dad. I have 2 daughters, a 2 and a 6-year-old, and they could care less what I do.
Yeah. But like, what's real estate?
The coolest thing about my job is the fact that I have hard hats in the back of my car, and they have been work boots, and they think I build buildings.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep that as long as possible.
So yeah, for sure. Kind of how this podcast goes in, we've talked about this. I do want to talk a little bit about Fengate, kind of your day-to-day, sort of what you guys are doing here. We can get a little bit more into it, and then we'll focus a bit more just on your career path and kind of some of the companies and the moves that you've made.
Sure.
So I guess from a Fengate standpoint, what does your day-to-day look like? And like, what are you guys really kind of focused on at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. Good question. My day to day is quite diverse. Obviously, I cover both the commercial and the residential, but our my focus is on leasing. It's on our operations team. It's on our asset management, our valuations, our business plans. So uh, I could be in a meeting discussing a major commercial lease with the broker and with our leasing team, and then the next meeting might be on debt strategies and figuring out what our role profile looks like on our debt book, and you know, or another meeting could be with our responsible investing team, understanding how we want to attack our grant submission. So it varies. I will say though that I often zoom out and I think about my role as how do I support my team? How do I get them the resources they need? How do I make sure that things are removed, the barriers are removed so that they can perform well? And we'll talk about leadership style, but I truly believe that great leaders are servant leaders. They serve their teams. They figure out how to give to their teams. And because my role is so diverse, and the only way I succeed and we succeed is if we have a well-performing, high-performing team. It's I think a lot about that.
And I'm curious because I know you mentioned that you are focused on residential and on the commercial side. So two pretty different asset classes, both going through like very different challenges at the moment. Sure. Where do you find, I guess, is there one area that you guys are a little bit more focused on right now, or I guess even on like the residential side, because I'm more on the commercial side. So the residential side, I don't know as much, but I guess on the residential side, I don't know much about Fengate's platform on that side. So how do you guys differentiate yourself from people? Obviously, there's a housing crisis that's going on right now. So there's a lot of, I guess, conversations that you guys are probably having to see what you can do to fix that.
For sure. No, for sure. A couple things. So we as you alluded in your intro, we manage several development funds where our residential assets are developed in. And then a couple core funds where essentially we want to execute or build two core strategy where we can hold these assets long term. But I would say where we differentiate ourselves is in where we focus. So our focus thematically and from a investment thesis perspective is the medium middle, like the middle class. And so think new Canadians, immigrants, students, young families that are young Canadian families. And if you think about the housing crisis, a lot of the crisis is essentially it's a supply crisis. Don't have enough homes. We don't have enough of the right types of homes. And our view is the middle class is where you're going to see the most resilient, recession-proof segment of the population where people are renting because they want to rent and they need to rent. And there's also more runway for growth. So if you think about if your rents are starting at $6 a foot and your growth rate is, your CAGR is 5 or 6%, there's not a lot of runway there to grow rents.
No, for sure.
You're back solving to salary and economic activity. So in our view, that's a great place to be. And that's where we as an industry need to provide more product. And, Leanne, from my perspective, it's not just a good business decision, but it's personal too, because, we rented my entire childhood. Like my dad was an international student. We immigrated here in the late or mid 80s, and we never rented beautiful apartments with pools. And remember, there's a place for that.
100%.
People are who want that product, and the groups that are developing that product are doing the entire industry as services, are elevating the rental state. And they're making it okay.
You do have to think that
for sure.
It's not the whole demographic has there.
Exactly. We just think there's more in that medium middle, and because there's more, and because of the things I mentioned, it's going to ultimately result in a higher risk-adjusted return, and a more resilient portfolio. And for me, it's awesome to be able to come to work and deliver the same type of housing that my family would have loved to see. Back then.
I love that. So it actually is a bit personal too here too. Which I do find when you have that, it does make the work more meaningful too, and it kind of just drives the purpose a little bit more.
For sure, for sure. It's easier to get out of bed if you think of it from that perspective. And listen, I rented until I was done university. So I make decisions about our portfolio when we deal with problems that our residents are dealing with, I'm not that much removed from
Yeah.
it.
I mean, to be honest, I'm still a renter. I'm in like my mid-30s and I'm still a renter. And I see myself being a renter for a while still too. So it is. Yeah, I can definitely.
And like it's becoming more like Canada's kind of behind in terms of it being normal. If you
Yeah.
look at the UK, if you look at Singapore and
Yeah.
New York, LA, it's totally normal to rent for.
Yeah, they don't even think of home ownership as something that you can even achieve at some point.
If you were downtown London and downtown New York, then you wouldn't expect to be.
No, just for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So we love that. We do believe that that's gonna home ownership rates are gonna slowly keep creeping down, and more renters will be part of our normal home occupant environment.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. I mean, it's exciting. You guys have a lot on the pipeline.
For sure.
But yeah.
We have 6 sites that we're launching this year.
Oh, no way.
6 sites. Close on a major transaction in Etobicoke.
Oh, I saw that this week.
Yeah.
Did you guys launch that? Yeah.
So we're bullish. We believe long term in the renter and in Canadian housing. And it's an exciting space to be in. Right?
Yeah. Cool. So I'm curious, how would you describe Fengate's culture and leadership philosophy here? And I guess, like, in what ways has that impacted your team's performance? How you're approaching leadership here?
For sure, I think I would describe it exactly as that. There's a culture of professional development, professional and personal development, and a culture of mentorship. And it's not a performative view. It's not just for likes on Instagram, but our team here is dialed into thinking about how do we build teams that are resilient? How do we ensure people are great public speakers and can lead well? And how do we ensure our leaders are creating more leaders? I mean, I'm just one example. And there's a couple ways we do it. Fengate has a program called 10,000 Coffees, where essentially the entire company over a period of 6-9 months is having coffee, but they pair you mentee and mentor, and you can be paired with the president. You can be paired with an ND. It's a guided mentorship program, with intentional points that you can cover with your mentor or mentee. And it's just one of many things Fengate does to drive learning and engagement. We have a learning day that essentially Fengate Field Day, Fengate University day that the entire company stops and comes together. There's guest speakers and sessions and a ton of opportunities to learn. So we kind of look at it the same way we look at our assets and our project, where we're, investing and able to get a return in our investment. But in this instance, it's human talents.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. And how big is your team that you're actually managing right now?
Yeah. So my team is about 35 to 40, if you include some of our external third-party managers on the residential side.
Yeah.
Internally, my team's about 30.
Okay. So, yeah. And has it been a big shift moving into this managing director role?
It has been a bit of a shift. I will say though that, I don't really view it as, I'm moving into this role kind of on my own. Like obviously, and you would have probably heard this from the people you've spoke to, leaders in our industry, like you can't do this by yourself.
No, you got like a whole RDR all together. Yeah. They're collaborative.
Exactly.
Everyone wants everyone to win. And
exactly. Yeah. So I guess for me, it's been, obviously it starts with Jamie. In my world, it starts with Jamie, who leads our real estate practice.
And she's fantastic.
She's amazing. Yeah. She's a true leader in this true sense and wants to make sure her team's supported. And so it starts with her. I work with our head of investments, Colin, and Allison, who runs our development program. It's been more of a group effort for us to, support me in my role. And of course, I do the same for them in their role. And, my wife's amazing. Like I have a great partner. It's one of the things that people probably don't talk about enough.
I know we were talking about this another time when we met, how like it really makes a difference, the support you have at home and like marrying, right?
Yeah, that's probably the most important decision you'll make.
Yeah.
People ask me, and then if they're your partner, and also like the group around you, like you talk about your girlfriends and then industry, like your group chat, your industry group. Like I have a group chat that I still, we kind of came up together and we were all analysts and we're all now all over the industry at pension funds, at large managers at brokerages,
Yeah.
they've been invaluable, right? So
Oh yeah.
I think for me, that's why it's been a fine transition, not because of anything, more because I've ensured I've surrounded myself with the right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends in this industry, but I have a lot of friends outside the industry, and I always try to describe the industry to them. And it is such a small industry, and you do. It's like so nice to grow up with these people, and it really is like it's easier to get deals done. You have this like sounding board that you can always go to, and
Right.
yeah, it's and you see these like super senior people and some people that are retiring and they all talk about it. And I do feel like we are very lucky to be in this industry because at the end of the day, everyone is pretty friendly with each other and everyone just wants the best for like what we're doing the work.
Correct. I think you're in a unique position. Like if, as a broker,
Yeah.
that's a small community. Like only you and your peers really know what you're going through
Yeah.
to drive the best value for your clients.
Yeah,
So
fair.
it's not unlike my role. And I've had lots of conversations with current mentors, past mentors, like colleagues, friends about, what they're seeing, how they're solving problems. And that's been exactly why it's been a little bit more of a smooth transition.
Yeah, totally. So let's kind of talk about your career because you've made some like pretty interesting moves of your career. Obviously, you started at GWL, massive institutional owner, and then you moved to Cartera, which is small, very entrepreneurial, and then over here at Fengate. So I'm kind of curious, like, what were some of the lessons that you learned through some of those shifts? What's kind of talk me through your journey?
Yeah, no, like listen, I in taking a step back, I started my career in banking. I spent 4 years at CIBC.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I pre kind of true commercial real estate. I was very fortunate, didn't necessarily plan that exact trajectory, but because I started with a bigger company with CIBC and then GWL, like Ken left back, massive organization, also big real estate team. It was 800 people, about 800 people. So it's a great place. So yeah, it was a big shot. So it's a great place to learn. Had a lot of great mentors, people I still speak today, like Glenn Way, who's now president. At coffee with him maybe a month or two ago, and it was great for me to, from just a technical perspective, learn the right way to look at real estate, evaluate risk, drive return. I was able to cover industrial and then residential with the GTA residential team. Launched awesome projects like Live More, which was their flagship rental right downtown Toronto, and then was able to gain a really broad network of colleagues, right? Like people who worked in development, investments, asset management, office, retail.
Yeah.
The benefit of a large company is you get a broad network.
Yeah.
So
which is pretty cool because I find like from moving from Winnipeg to Toronto, when I moved to Toronto, in Winnipeg, I was able to touch a bunch of different asset classes. Find in Toronto, sometimes you like kind of get pigeonholed into like staying in one asset class. So like you have some very cool experience because you've really touched everything.
Yeah, I did. I did. It started with industrial retail, and then we'll go over to the rental side.
Yeah.
At Cartera, I had a suburban office portfolio. Same thing here at Fengate. And as I got, I would say I was specialized in industrial and residential. Those was a focus area.
Oh, yes.
But obviously, as you get more senior, you take on more scope.
Yeah.
You need to have a broader perspective of the entire real estate cycle. And
for sure.
every piece fits together and how to make better decisions. So yeah, you're right. It was a switch from a big company to Cartera that was, elite, boutique, private equity developer, best in the business at what they do. They're vertical. But very small team. It was essentially, a team of 20 people. So Coursera was an awesome experience. It was, I probably felt like 10 years worth of learning in three hour.
Well, because you have to like roll your sleeves. You're in a head.
Absolutely. There was nothing that we didn't touch or you didn't do. And if it needed to be solved, you solved that problem. And everyone had that attitude, very humble, very, willing to do anything and everything to drive the returns for their investors. And, it was also an interesting time. I mean, you remember kind of 2019, 2020, and 2023, where it was a fascinating time to be covering industrial at that time, and seeing rents rise from essentially X dollars to.
That's actually when I came back to the landlord side, was when everything was going up to like the 20s, 21s, and some of the stuff I was working on, my client at the time had taken on like 30 buildings. You started in industrial as well.
Right.
So like you've really seen the shift as
Yeah, so I did. You and I talked about this, about industrial was not, the cachet asset class that
yeah,
it's now. It's
sexy.
it
That
doesn't say, oh, it was $4, $5, $6 maybe if you're lucky.
yeah.
And and I covered a lot of small bay and mid bay. And so I Cartera, I did a lot of transactions on large scale, talking about 200, 300,000 square foot boxes.
Okay, yeah.
Best in class, AAA
Yeah.
stuff. GBL had a really good product as well, obviously, but a lot of it was small bay. So again, even the type of tenants, be small, not a mom pops. So yeah, and there's a lesson in that for sure about not turning your nose up at an opportunity or an asset class, because you just never know. Things come in and out of favor.
Yeah.
And I was more than happy to do that work, and I learned a ton, and some of those lessons still serve me till today.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious of it because, like, I think at the end of the day, some people think, like, oh, real estate's so cool and stuff, but, like, a lot of it is, like, pretty unglamorous. And is there any, just thinking back on your career, any maybe opportunity or project or something that you worked on that you just really didn't want to do it at the time, but, like, looking back, like, it really set in some, like, key lessons, or, like, kind of just talk me through that? Because, again, like, yeah, back then, that stuff wasn't that cool to work on.
For sure. No, and even, I think, yes, the short answer is yes. Like, and even residential, when I moved over to the res team, the NRES wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
We didn't have, the Robiers and the Tricons really kind of fully inflated, and
Yeah.
this like, confluence of government and industry and regular Canadians caring about rental. There was a lot of those experiences where, projects I took on that maybe nobody wanted to touch, or roles I took on I was willing to do. From my perspective, I was raised to be humble and to be thankful for opportunities, and really didn't have a plan B, like, oh, right. It's like, it's not like I could fall back on, anything else. Like, my perspective was, and it's still to work super hard, to treat people well, and to say yes to opportunities that it didn't really matter what it was.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, like, as long as you're putting your hand up, like, you just learn so much from things that you don't even know what you don't know sometimes. And yeah, when you do get these opportunities that, like, may not want to do it, you really kind of push yourself and grow from them, and it all does snowball. It. You were just seeing where your career is now, like how far you come. It's amazing. Still have like so much left too. So it's cool, yeah, having that type of mindset.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it's not I was telling you earlier, like, I've for sure done that in my career, and I'm wanting to do more in my personal life as well. Like, this podcast is not a typical thing I would normally do.
Yeah. So excited that you're hearing it, and I really appreciate it.
Of course, I love it, and it's been great. And you're exactly an example of that, where you want to think about, well, how do you push yourself? How do I do something that's uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Because that's where you grow, right? Like, you're not going to grow in the normal routine commodity type roles or files. It's actually the messy restructuring that work through that you'll learn way more. And you
totally. Yeah. So you've talked a little bit about like mentorship as you've just even kind of been sitting here. So do you have any like core mentors that you've kind of been with, or even just, I guess, from like your own standpoint, like, have you now kind of moved into that mentor spotlight, and like, are you mentoring now? And I'm just kind of curious your take on it, and like how it's impacted your career.
Yeah, it's critical. It may seem trite or cliche when people like us talk about it. If you're early in your career, you may not see the true value until later, but it's been absolutely huge for me. And yes, I do still have mentors that I've known since literally day one, like, Dave Bergeron, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
He he was part of the team that hired me back when he was a GWL covering industrial, and I still keep in touch with him till today. And, mentors here at Fengate, Jamie is my boss, but certainly I see her as a mentor as well.
Yeah.
And yes, I am. I because it was done for me, and people took time out of their day to grab a coffee with me.
Yeah.
And spend time and impart their wisdom. I absolutely try to do as much of that as I can, and I think there's people I consistently try to pour back into because that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess even too, like once you're in a leadership role, it's at the end of the day, you are a mentor to your team. And yeah, no, it's very cool. So I kind of want to switch the conversation just a little bit and kind of get into a little bit. We've had the opportunity to kind of know each other through the industry. And I mean, I think it's a big hot topic and it has been in like the last few years is diversity and inclusion. And I'm curious because you brought up uh how your take is diversity of outcomes versus diversity of opportunity. And I would love for you to kind of go into that a little bit more and just kind of your opinion on that and kind of how you feel diversity and inclusion fits into the world these days.
Yeah, sure. I, diversity outcome, you know, broadly speaking, is this concept where, you know, we need certain metrics to be hit. We need to check off a box and make sure if you're interviewing for a role that you must interview a woman or so was a racial minority, and you meet kind of those, you're trying to force those outcomes. In my view,
It's like you're hitting the checkbox.
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems more performative. And
Yeah.
my preference and my focus, even personally, is to think about how do we make sure that we have a diversity of opportunity, give people a chance to perform and give people a chance to be in rooms that they maybe not wouldn't normally be in. And, you know, why does it matter? Like, what's the focus? Obviously, in real estate, we're talking about the built environment. We're talking about office spaces and retail malls and homes, and all of these spaces, you know, are being used and enjoyed by everyone. Well,
Yeah.
men, Black people, white people.
Yeah.
So of course we need all those voices in the room making decisions that will impact the built form and the built environment. And really, I think we're getting better. We're not where we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Part of what you started your career.
Yeah, I mean, even when I started, and I started my career in Winnipeg, and I was probably the only female in commercial real estate on the brokerage. I
Yeah.
moved to Toronto a little bit better, but yeah, in the last 10 years, like it really has shifted. It's not perfect, and there's still so much further that it needs to go, but like it really has changed.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think we really have to take a long-term view on that.
Totally.
Nothing changes overnight.
No,
From
yeah, anything.
For sure. And a lot of the changes, like if you have to have people in those positions, right?
Yeah.
If you want more females, you need more female leaders. Right? You need always one or two. And then that's kind of how it's going to start because they will just look at the world differently. Right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, diversity needs to be all types of diversity, not just Black or white or male or female, but diversity or opinion,
Yeah.
thoughts is huge in terms of bringing different perspectives to bear. And really, the data is clear that diverse teams perform better.
Yeah.
They lead to better outcomes. So that's been my focus. And you want to hire the best talents and hire the best available talent. But I think if you have a mindset that understands that the best is something that's diverse,
Yeah.
then you're gonna get there.
For sure. I know, and I do think that like a lot of leaders are now going that route of I just want the best person for this role and it doesn't matter anything behind it. And like I do hope that that kind of continues just based off that conversation. And now you are in a leadership role. How do you mentor a diverse team and what kind of advice would you give to, I guess, other leaders? And I know that this might be kind of newer because you're newer into the situation, but yeah, I'm curious your take on it.
Yeah, I would say two things. Have some grits. So it's not unlike your story. Like you gotta have some grits. You gotta be able to work through things and not give up so easily. It might be a little harder for sure than a traditional, maybe non-diverse person. But have a lot of grit, and you need that in real estate. You need to let things roll off your back a little bit. You need to just keep pushing, right? And keep working hard. Hard work does work. And then the second thing I would say is just understand how your diversity is actually strength.
Yeah.
Because when you walk into a boardroom and you're walking to a boardroom full of men, you're bringing a unique perspective that none of them have. It's just
I agree. Yeah.
right? So I think a lot of times people think of it's a weakness, like I'm not like everyone else. That again, it doesn't have to be man or a woman. It could be other things.
Yeah.
But I think if you reframe that and understand, like, hey, listen, like I'm actually bringing something unique to the table that is a value add.
Yeah,
That
sure.
and that's going to be helpful.
Which that's like really great advice because I find it's easier said than done. Because when you're actually in it, it's tough to like have that mindset because it's so easy to kind of like doubt yourself or have imposter syndrome. And I mean, personally, I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, I now kind of think that way. But it took like almost 15 years into my career. And I'm like, we're just starting to feel that. So I do hope for the younger generation that's kind of just getting in is like if they take some of this advice and take advantage of these podcasts and the information that like we didn't have access to when we were kind of starting to kind of really because it is like this is all from experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you try to do the other way, like if you try to be like everyone else,
Yeah.
you're not going to do well because you're going to be a fake version of, like the guy that you think you need to be more like him.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're never going to be, you're going to be way more effective being you.
Yeah.
But it's just the mindset shift.
Yeah.
And this is why these forums are great because you're right. We didn't like it. There's so much information now that will hopefully help you take, make less mistakes as you come up. And
yeah, for sure. I'm curious because like now that you're leading a team and obviously you're having input into who is going to come into the team from a hiring standpoint, if someone wants to work with you, JB, like what does that look like?
Yeah, good question. I'm hiring now as well, so it's timely. Honestly, I think at more junior levels, you got to be able to execute, like deliver. If you're an analyst, for example, your technical skills needs to be strong, and your ability to collaborate and bring data to like collate data and then make a decision needs to be strong because real estate isn't like a solo thing; it's a team sport.
Yeah.
So those are the two things I look for at our most junior levels. At the senior level, you obviously still need to be able to do your job and do it effectively, but it's about how you lead and how you show up as a leader. And do you view yourself as like, and again, this is coming off of my leadership style. Do you view yourself as serving your team and leading your team?
Yeah.
Or do you feel it as like, no, they're working for me, so they need to help me do my job.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other way around. And we're when you think about who we're leading these days, like in the younger generation we talked about, it's very different than like how we came up, right?
Oh yeah.
So you need to know how to lead, and it's a good and a bad thing. But like the younger generation, I think, is very much more aware of their mental health, and they're aware of like work-life balance, and they're comfortable leaving at 5 or 6 p.m. because they understand that that's when the day ends.
Yeah.
They'll leave before you and just say, hey, man, I'll see you later. And it's on video, whereas we would have never left before a box. And
oh my God. I got pulled into a boardroom like 4 weeks into one of my jobs and they're like, I don't think that this is right for you because I wasn't coming in at like 6 a.m. And I started doing it 5 minutes before. So I was like, this will change everything. And it's sometimes it is just like, it's like, if you're there and just like it's funny though.
We came that way where it was like so I'm not sure that that's the best way because you see it leads to burnout and all that.
I agree, and like I think that there is a degree of there's burnout, and I mean I think it is great that there's more focus on mental health these days too. But I also think at the early start of your career, you do have to work hard and you have to make some sacrifices. And like someone said to me, one of my mentors said to me, like when my early years, I didn't have a lot of knowledge because I was so new to the industry that all I had was time. So like time was all I could give. And so it's true. And it's like, it had this, and I wasn't even going to ask you about work-life balance on this because I've asked everyone else, but like, I think the reality is like, it can be tough to have work-life balance in this industry, but then it weighs out like what's important to you rising in your career. Like, and you're not saying that you wouldn't rise your career, but like, yeah, I'm kind of.
Well, to be frank, like I think you've seen all the banks make return to office dues, and if you're in real estate and you think it's gonna work coming in 2 days, it's just not.
Yes,
you need to learn from your peers.
Sure,
and the feedback loop needs to be quick.
Yeah,
that you and I bump into each other as you're getting coffee and I'm about to get on the call with a client and hey, Leanne, I think you work with this group. Let's put them into that building. That's not going to happen on Zoom because I'd have to schedule. I'd have to foresight to know that you.
For sure.
So that feedback is real things pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
At times, and you need to learn if you're young, if you're in the first 5 to 10 years of your career, you absolutely need to be coming into the office. Now, can you have a day where you need to attend to some family matter or be there for your aging parents?
Yeah.
Or if you have a child, of course.
Like I feel like we are fortunate with some of these changes that there's more flexibility.
Yeah.
You still have to work hard or put the time in, but yeah, to your point, like there's more flexibility now, and you can make it up, and it's yeah, it is. It's interesting.
We talk about flexibility about, I want to be able to work from home, and that's going to give me all some flexibility. But truth be told, the hybrid work environment is also inflexible. And so
Yes.
if you want to speak to your boss and you're sitting at home and your boss is in the office, you have to book a meeting. Like there's barriers. It's not flexible.
It's not in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Happens meeting room. So I think we have to really, especially as we see the world, people coming back to work and we're competing against the globe now.
Yeah.
You have to really think about, like, what are you giving up if you're only at home in the early stages of your career? And it depends obviously what you're doing. Are you at investments? Or is your role in, maybe you're in internal controls?
Yeah.
You only do head down work. Obviously there's nuance, but I'm of the mind, like, that you need to be present in front of your clients, in front of your customers, in front of your teams.
Yeah.
And be doing this face to face.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. My experience too, like during COVID, obviously, like I think a lot of people were at home. And when we started to have to go back to the office, I was like a bit hesitant on it. And now, like, I couldn't even imagine working at home all the time now, because it's like, and it is, I think there's a lot of people that they don't have that opportunity because they still are on a hybrid schedule. And it's like, no, like once you're in, you go back to like how it was. We always stopped being 5 days a week. But like,
You sit in your appointments.
totally, yeah, you still like it. So it's like that for a really long time.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we all knew it was going to revert back to the mean, and we're going to get back to there at some point. So
yeah,
I'm clearly on team working lot.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I kind of want to switch gears a little bit as we kind of start blending this down and just kind of talk a little bit more about your personal journey. And you shared a deeply personal and vulnerable experience on LinkedIn, and so that's why I'm bringing it up as well. That you and your wife had lost your twins, Cope and Rain. And it was a very emotional post. And I think that's like really great of you to do that, because sometimes it's hard to get vulnerable out there. And just like, I'd love for you to kind of talk about why you did that and talk about the cope and the grief that kind of came from it, because I think everyone deals with this kind of stuff in their day-to-day, whether it's like losing twins or any type of huge loss in their life, and it's not talked about. So I'm curious, just if you'll kind of talk about that.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. Like, we love Hope and Rain, and like my wife and I are intentional around keeping their memory alive, of sharing with our two Willie girls, who their sisters were, and how that experience was. And listen, it was hard for me. Like the first, it probably took about 18 months for me to talk about it, even, never mind on LinkedIn, just even with friends in general. But it was tough, because I was in the middle of my time at Cartera. We were extremely busy. Our team, as you know, was very lean.
Yeah.
Credit to Hai and the team over there. They were being so gracious about saying, like, JB, like, take the time you need.
Yeah.
Be with your wife, and you let us know when you're ready. But I think for me at the time, Deb definitely didn't do a good job processing through that. And Mount Sinai, so our girls, we lost them at Mount Sinai, and they have a grief, an loss group where every Tuesday at 1 p.m. and an invite still in my calendar, is it a recurring calendar invite. They would have these like support groups where moms and dads would come online and seek there's a counselor, and I would have these meetings that close my door at Cartera, have this meeting. Which was kind of tough, because you'd hear other stories, and it's you got to a point where I couldn't even attend those meetings anymore, because it was really
hard. But then to then have to go back to your day to day, like it's so heavy.
Exactly. So, like, I'd literally come off these calls like bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And I have to like pull it together to deal with the rest of my day. And my days were busy. And if a lot of how I learned, 5, 6, 7, 8 months later that I really need to like talk about this more, and I'm holding this all in, and
Yeah.
this is tough. It's hard. Like we didn't expect to, we didn't expect to have twins. So
Yeah.
naturally occurring twins, let alone have them and then lose them. And like I think a lot of it is like understanding that it's okay to discuss that with your in all your environments, not just with your friends group, but
Yeah.
at work. And obviously this is not wasn't a fun thing to go through, but I knew going through it. Again, I was on these calls with ordinary people,
Yeah.
people that I might not even realize had miscarriages or had losses.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that at work, when you walk around your office, like everyone's going through something.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly more patient, I'm more gracious,
Yeah.
more understanding about, someone asks for time off, or it gives me a different perspective. And that's what being vulnerable does. And I think I'm a better leader because I try to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing for that. And I can't emotional over here. Um, and I mean, I guess just on that, because I truly don't know if I've ever had a leader that has been that vulnerable. And do you think like vulnerability, I mean, you obviously talked about it, it's like helped you too, but do you think do you see a future where leaders are more vulnerable? Do you think that there should like these things? Because like again, talking about mental health, like there's such a push for and everyone talks about it, but like I could name a whole bunch of people that like don't talk about things, and it's like it does. And I've gone through my own journeys, which is why I really believe in people talking, and it's why I did want to bring it up as well on here, because hopefully even just hearing your story will give someone the courage to like open up and talk to someone. Because I do think it's really important.
Yes, I agree. And I think that it starts with that. I think it's, oftentimes when I shared my story to other guys in the industry, like peers, brokers, colleagues, I would share, hey, like, listen, like, this it's their anniversary, and this is a tough week. And I'd share what happened and give all the details. And literally almost to a guy, they'd tell me like, you know what, like we also had a loss, or, my mom passed, last year. Like, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. I'm so sorry to hear that. But it takes someone to take a step.
Yeah,
Share.
so be the one that has the courage to open up. So yeah.
Sure. So I think as a leader, you need to think, as we get more AI and more automation and more technology in our workflows or our work process, I think you need more human, right?
100%.
More human top of that. And people want to hear that, they want to know you, and like you give people a lot of hope and ability to process their own grief, their own trauma, their own pain. If you just I'm not perfect. I'm not a, I have blood running through my veins. I have emotions. I've cried about things. Like it's people think you aren't, because you see these leaders, they put them on a pedestal, but
Sure.
it's okay to process through all that. It's okay to talk about that and be vulnerable and share, hey, like I have conflicting feelings about this, and not be so stoic.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can lead better if you lead with more humility, more vulnerability, and
For sure.
we need more of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think as a whole, people just need like communication's everything. And I think I sometimes fall into this too. And just from a work standpoint, like I take on so much and I don't want to ask for help. And then it like stresses you out internally. But the minute that you do, like everyone wants to help out, and like we are all humans. And at the end of the day, like it's all about connecting, and it makes your days better, and it makes the job easier. And yeah.
And you're giving something to that person who probably needed to hear it that day.
Totally.
They needed to get some license to share their story.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you sharing all that. So a couple more questions and then we're going to be done here. So I'm curious, so where you are at today, is it different than where you saw your life going? Like, did you think real estate was it? Is this where you saw yourself?
I always wanted to work in real estate.
Okay.
For sure. As a 10-year-old, I wanted to work in real estate.
No way. I love that.
So that, in terms of my role,
Which is pretty rare. A lot of people don't know that they want to work in real estate.
Yeah. I didn't know all the mechanics and the different pieces of real estate. And that was more like, I like structure and houses. I want to renovate houses and all in real estate. We also move around. We move around a lot, but even my dad moved for work, and so I was always in a new house. Like I could move like 6 or 7 times. So it was always like it wasn't in the background, right?
Yeah.
Where if you're in the same, I think if you're in the same place, maybe just
You don't know start saying about it. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's like I think maybe that played a role. But my role now, no, I don't think I totally assume this. And to be frank, I think it's problematic if someone were to say, yeah, like for sure, I think I need to like I assume that was going to be a leading an MD or a president. I'm super humbled and grateful that the trust that my Jamie and team and our clients have put in me and in our program. And I think I always knew I would be in a leadership role, some form of leadership. But I do think leadership isn't just a big title or a big team. You know, we had our social yesterday, and one of the interns led a ice breaking game.
Oh, nice. Good.
And you could lead before you were a leader, right? They Kumar said that.
Yeah.
And if anybody who hasn't watched that, go back and watch that episode. It's an awesome like view on business and on life. And so I think in my mind, I want to be a leader.
Yeah.
Type of leader, how
wasn't sure where that was gonna go, but that was kind of in you. Yeah, amazing, cool. And it's like because you are like you've had such a successful career, but you're still very young. So what do you see for yourself in the future? I guess like professionally, personally, what are some like kind of the short-term, long-term goals? Like what is next for you?
I'm focused on scaling our residential program. We'd like to get to 10,000 units. Not a secret.
Yeah.
A lot of that is in our control and in our pipeline. We'll also continue to grow our commercial book and primarily in the logistics in industrial space.
Yeah.
Certainly would like to see us in more markets across Canada and the US on the real estate side. We're in every market on the infra private equity side. And then listen, I want to continue being a good husband and a good father to my daughters. Like they're at a great age, 2 and 6. So
as a prime age, very
super busy. Like I'm doing all the things every weekend.
Yeah.
Swimming, gymnastics, and like love to see them, grow and hit their milestone.
Yeah, for sure.
Out of my next 5 to 10 years, just book some.
Yeah, amazing. And we kind of end this podcast with a question and then we go into this like rapid fire. So what is, if you had only one piece of advice that you want to put out there, what is that one piece of advice?
It's a good question. One piece of advice, I would say pick a good team. And by team, I don't mean like your work team, but your spouse, the people you surround yourself with, your colleagues, your friends, your work friends. Like pick a good crew. Yeah. Like that would be it.
It is. It really is everything. Yeah. I think we're very much on the same mindset in that.
Yeah. I would challenge you to find a leader who's successful and well regarded, and who's doing big things and great things and isn't surrounded by a support partner, and friends and colleagues and a team.
It's the building blocks. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like that stuff all needs to be in order to even like push yourself to the next level.
I think maintain and sustain it. So I don't know how I would give any other advice. There's a lot of things I could say, but I think that's the takeoff is that like you ought to be
that's
supported.
Awesome. Do you prefer text or call?
A call.
Call?
Yeah. I'm giving my usual call.
What is the app that you use the most on your phone?
It's probably LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know.
Either LinkedIn or WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. Okay, and last one. What is the key to happiness?
The key to happiness is being content.
Oh, that's
you have to be okay with where you're at. Yeah. Whether you're a receptionist, or you're the CEO, or you're married, or you're single, or you're rich or poor, you're okay with where you're at. Like, because if you're not, the problem is people tend to think that, if I just this, then I will be happy. If you're not, because you're missing the point. But I think you gotta be comfortable with the shoes you're wearing right now, and if you and the people who are always happy, like bad day, good day, market's up, down, project blew up, the mic stopped work, whatever is not happening, right? It's not a matter to you. You're just fine.
Yeah. That's really great advice. I just listened to a podcast recently. It was a Buddhist monk, and he was talking about that. And I mean, I think a lot of people can, but it is like if you're always striving, it's like your life's gonna go by, and that's. I mean, I'd have to work on that too. But that is really great advice, JD. This was amazing. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for doing this today. And yeah, well, everyone's gonna love this. This is a great.
I love chatting with you.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.